Shalom, Koholo Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Raha HaKadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four corners of the globe. My name's Barad Debar, coming to you from the GMS campus, Indianapolis. And to all those listening and learning, to you, I say Shalom. Especially to you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians that make up the 12 tribes of Israel. Today, just going through Deuteronomy 30 and 7. And really, it's a spiritual thoughts, but it started with curses upon thy enemies. And so whatever other thoughts that come to mind, I do have a few things that I've pulled up, a few scriptures. Hopefully, it is edifying, uplifting, exhorting, of comforting of some sort to the true believers of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai. As you can see, it says Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 7. It says, and the Lord, Yahweh, all caps, thy power will put all these curses upon thy enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. So we're in a time where there is mass judgment. There is, and they're coming from all directions. So just like today, again, this is spiritual thoughts, it's going to be all over the place, because that's how in today's time, Babylon is a bowl of confusion. You have many things that are going on, and you try, and of course the prophets, the men that have the foresight to see and to understand the scriptures, how Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai intended it to be, are doing their best to filter all the things throughout the scriptures. And in the process of it's so much that's happening, and in some cases you miss things or it's hard to keep up. Like, for example, we know, I'm going to start here. This, I think it was a week ago. I came across the video, shared it, of course, with the Brotherhood. But it says scientists say several thousand earthquakes detected near Greece islands of Santorini. And so on yesterday, found the video. And in the video, it actually mentioned it was they've counted in 1 week, actually, 7,700 earthquakes within the week. And let me see. So let's see what it says. It says Athens, Greece scientists have detected several thousand earthquakes, the vast majority of them with small magnitudes, in just over 2 weeks near Greece's volcanic island of Santorini. The University of Athens Crisis Management Committee said Tuesday, adding that a large quake could be ruled out. So we'll stop there, because in the video, they were actually saying that there's been this particular area is a high tourist area. All right. Now, mind you, this place is being ruled by, as a whole, Esau, Edom, so-called white man. So when they say all these curses are going to be placed upon the enemies, remember that for all the lewd acts, things in which our people have done when we were in our land, the true land, the holy land in Israel, the things in which we done as far as worshiping other idols, many lewd acts, following the other nations. These are things that got us kicked out of the land and actually got us kicked out of rulership. All right. For not having the true knowledge of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. The scriptures talk about, we have gone into captivity because we have no knowledge. And so how much more the heathens who are less than nothing. Let me get that really quick. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 40, verse 17. It says, all nations before him are as nothing, and are counted to him less than nothing and vanity. All right. Let me get another one. This is a book of Second Esdras chapter 6, verse 56. It says, as for the other people, which is the other nations, to show you, because as I read the first one, you would think that he's also speaking of Israel, but he's actually talking of the other nations. It says, as for the other people, which also come of Adam, because we understand Adam, and everyone was populated upon the earth, and eventually down to Noah, from the seed of Adam. He says, thou hast said that they are nothing, but are likened unto spittle, and has likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. So the abundance of them. So you're going to see, again, these curses and these things that are being placed upon these nations. You're going to see that it's going to be massive. And then, of course, 2/3 of our people. Again, there's a lot of the people that are in this land and all scattered throughout the four corners of the earth are Israelites mixed in as well. And so 2/3 of our people are going to be in a heathenistic mindset. And so they're going to receive many of those judgments as well. There will be some that are protected and will return to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. But the vast majority of these judgments are going to be for the wicked unto destruction. Let me get that. But let me actually, before I get that, it says, and has likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. So if you had, let's just say, a bucket of water and you're carrying it from one place to another, but it's so full, a drop fell out, you wouldn't stop what you were doing just to save that one drop. And that's in the abundance of the heathen and these other nations. So when you start to see these mass judgments happening and the things that they're doing, these are is pretty much nothing to cry about. All right, like the terms say, can't cry over spilled milk. All right. Let me actually get that term really quick. Told you this is spiritual thoughts, just things just kind of flowing. Spilled milk. Okay, we'll just see what AI says. Don't cry over spilled milk is an idiom that means there's no point in being upset about something that has already happened. It's a reminder that dwelling on the mistakes won't happen. Okay, so of course, these things we know that the Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai has told us that these calamities and these things are going to happen. So we should liken it unto spilled milk. You shouldn't have when all the things that are going on, these nations are running wild. They're attacking each other. They're out in the streets, fighting the seditions, like our head apostles. And I've heard our elders and say, we have no dog in the fight. We are pretty much just watchmen. We just have our popcorn. We're sitting back and we're just watching the words of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai come to life, and see the prophecies unfold. And we're just gearing up because we know that pretty soon things are going to happen suddenly. And when it happens, we know that our salvation, okay, is that much closer. Okay, and that actually, when it does happen, that the Lord will be returning. When I say example would be the Third World War. We also know of the MOTB, the Mark of the Beast, the chip that they're gearing up to work on. And we know, again, that the devil, Satan, he's going to come down with great wrath because he knoweth that he have but a short time. And in that short time, you've seen all these things that are happening. And as they're moving fast and working fast to complete their enterprise, there are many mistakes that are happening, and many people are going to get caught, in the crossfires of their mistakes. Like, for example, you have that resignation, the fork in the road that was sent out, and it had got pushed back, and then finally, they have closed it. And in the process, they said they had maybe upwards to about 20,000, and it could be more, that have actually have did the resignation. And so we're just waiting to see how that turns out, right? And then you have many other U.S. AID closures, Department of Education closures, funding that's being paused for many other federal government, finding that spending was sent out on things such as transgender, to make monkeys and mice transgender, and testing on some type of date rape or sex drug to see if it would have an adverse effect on these transgender. Complete and utter confusion. Okay, and so that's going back into the scriptures you see before you. They are likened unto nothing. So if they don't have the laws and commandments of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, you see in these days how chaotic a land without law, without the true law, can be. So again, this, hopefully, it's edifying. There's another thought here. This is going back to Deuteronomy 30:7. It says, "And the Lord Yahweh, thy power, will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee." Who's persecuted us? Starting with, Esau, Edom, so-called white man. You go into the book of Psalms 83. They said to come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel shall be no more in remembrance. They wanted that name off of us, that we would be no more a people, before anyone in the world, to not be known. All right. And then even to the point, if they could, utter annihilation and destruction of that people, and to sit in the seat and resume or assume the name for themselves. And so as a result, we've been the native Indians. You can, recent history, you see native Indians who once owned and occupied this land that's now called America, but they've come in. The Edomites came, settled, colonized, and took over, and and this is what you have today. And of course, they talk about making America great again, but as a result, these are the ones that have afflicted. Then they bring in the so-called Negroes, and though the Latin tribes as well and the native tribes were also put into captivity in the chains, they bring in the native tribe, the so-called Negro tribe in slavery, of course. And then you have many points in time of lynching and cities being burnt and broken and tore up, and children and women being ravished and hurt and killed by who else? They're very people that have us under their control to this day. I want to get this really quick. Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 33 says that thus said Yahweh of hosts, his army, says the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together. So both nations were oppressed by these people. All right. And now we're here in the Americas in modern day. You see the Latin tribes being, deported by ISIS, which is also another thing. that's been going on. And he says, and all that took them captives, who has us in captivity? Esau, Edom, so-called white man, and all the other nations have had a part. But currently, this present day is the most lawless and wicked of all the earth and all the world. Held them fast, they refused to let them go. It says their Redeemer is strong, Yahweh Shai. The Lord of hosts is his name. You know, it says Yahweh Wah, Yahweh Shai. Okay. He shall thoroughly plead their cause. He's going to fight. That plead is not to beg. He's going to fight for the cause of the elect on this side. Those who are crying out about for all the abominations that are happening upon the earth, for all the wickedness that are going on upon the earth. He says that he may give rest to the land and disquieted the inhabitants of Babylon. So he's going to give rest unto his people. The people, it is the Israel is a people before it's a place. Okay, Jacob, his name became Israel when he wrestled with the angel. All right, and from him he had the 12 progenitors or 12 tribes, which, the 12 progenitors that made up, the 12 tribes of Israel, okay, which is a nation that came from our forefather Jacob. Okay, so hopefully that is understood. So here's something that's going on. This is just recently. It says a U.S. military aircraft crashed off of San Diego, coast of California, on Wednesday during a so-called go-around maneuver, in which the plane landed and was taken off again, according to Navy spokespeople. A video of the incident shared in social media shows the fighter jet plummeting into the water of San Diego Harbor. So I looked, and I looked in the comments. There was a video that I actually want to share a little snippet of it, and they were showing that they were saying it was like within the past 12 days or so, there's been about 8 different crashes. But it says 2 pilots, both are in good condition. All right, and were quickly rescued by the Coast Guard and are being kept under 24-hour medical observation out of caution. All right, so this is just I'm not going to click on anything, but just to show. Here's another. That's where they're saying scene happening. So they ejected themselves out and it nose dived into the water. Now, I actually did a quick look because, again, there's a lot of things that are going on. And with these, the jet crashes, I just was curious and just did a basic search. And it could be more, it could be less. But it says the price of a military jet can range from 80 million to 100 million per jet, depending on the model. All right. And so that's quite a bit of money, just for a jet, and it was crashed. It went into the water. So you see the Lord, the things in which they're putting their hands to do. Actually, there's a thought. Let me see. This is also concerning Edom. All right. Jeremiah chapter 49, verse 7, concerning Edom. Thus said the Lord, Yahweh of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman? Is counsel perished from the prudent? Is their wisdom vanished? So you're going to see this nation, Edom, right? All the things in which they was doing in the past, with, because, now they're priding themselves in their technology, but all the things that they were doing in the past, the Lord had allowed for them to gain. Like, for example, how they stole and build this land, America, and then all the things from their medical, from their police system, the systems in which they created, the housing, the economics, the control of the masses of people, all the foundation and what they've built. It put them in a where people would look at them to be very wise. But now, in these last times, you're seeing how everything in which they had put their hands to do, the Lord is allowing it to be their wickedness to be seen, to see how they actually gained a lot of how they built a lot of this. When you see that they had created a patent company, and a lot of things that was created by you so-called blacks, Native Indians, Hispanics, and Native Indians, and how they stole a lot of the things that were created, like the stoplight, the light bulb, things like cars and motorcycles. Still, a lot of things that were, even to the point of certain liquors and wines, a lot of things that were really actually established and founded by Israelites. Okay. And those things were stolen, and then they became rich, of course, literally off the backs of the cotton gin, how, even all the free labor, okay. So now the Lord, they're going to eventually, for all the things that they've done with stealing, when he says the thief cometh not but to steal, kill, and destroy, in the process of all stealing all of that and taking all of that, sharecropping, they have to pay for it. Okay. And the Lord is saving them, for last. But as you can see, as before Yahushua returns, he's going to allow for this place to continue to just crumble and fall. And so that airplane crash, that's millions of dollars that was used to build this plane. Then you had another crash, what ended up actually in death. It says how many deadly plane crashes. That was just actually a search that I looked up, but it was a jet owned by Motley Cruise Vince. Okay, this just recently happened. All right, and on Monday, a fatal crash on Monday at a Arizona airport involving a plane owned by Motley Crue singer Vince Neil is the fourth in a series of deadly and catastrophic U.S. aviation disasters that have killed 85 people in recent weeks. So that's a thing that's going on. Let me get this. The book of Proverbs, chapter 2, verse 9. Chapter 29, verse 2 says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. And on top of all the things that I mentioned before, the people are mourning. You actually have the Canada, who, video from yesterday came out that, they are actually gearing up for war against America. You have Mexico, which they haven't mentioned much yet, but something's going to come back out. But they've been a whole border crisis with them. So there's just a lot that is actually going on. And when I say the curse is placed upon the enemy, you're starting to see that a lot of stories that are coming out like this, such as this, with their nation now. And you would see it a lot with, the so-called blacks, Hispanic and Native American women and men. And you're seeing it still, but you're going to start to see more and more of this happening and be more publicized, because a lot of times they would keep it in the dark, like the opioid epidemic. You didn't really, they would talk about it in the news. You wouldn't really see it much on the media. Actually, me personally, I didn't know much about it like that, and then when I really found out, it's like, man, this has been going on for almost upwards into 20 years. Whereas, before you had the crack epidemic, where the crack and drugs was flooded in the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American neighborhoods. Now you start to see that this drug epidemic and has been plaguing their nation. All right. See, I always said these curses will be placed upon them. Also, you had homelessness, right? You would see a large group of our people, out on the streets asking and begging for money. But then you started to see this large influx of these other nations, mainly Edomites, asking and begging for money. Now, in this case, you see two fathers grieve after a woman shoots four daughters. And so, in short, we'll just go here. It says, on February 10th, it says two fathers are grieving after a woman shot her four daughters in Byron, Wyoming on Monday, February 10th, killing three of them and leaving one fighting for her life. It says the three daughters, as you can see here, three of the girls were found dead after being shot. The fourth, age 7, remained hospitalized in Salt Lake City. So you're starting to see again the people mourning and the distress, right? I brought that out in Deuteronomy 28, because again, when you have being besieged in the land, in Babylon besieged Israel, and then you had the 70 AD siege, you had where the women and men were fighting amongst themselves, and the women, of course, would because of the famine, they weren't allowing for food to come in or food to go out. That the food became scarce, and what would they do? They were sodding and eating their children. Okay, as tough as that may be hard to believe, but it was actually history, the things that were happening. And of course, this would be an example of, not sodding and eating their child, but killing their children, having their eyes evil toward their husband. And then she put the gun, on herself. So, again, these things were happening to the native tribes and many dispensations of time, the so-called Negro tribes, where, even up to this day, you're seeing things happen, like a so-called black woman had both of her children in Detroit, little to no clothes on in the cold weather, and both of them died in the cold. She had just lost her home, and of course, sure, she could have maybe gave her children over to the father, because there's a video that actually has conversation with the father of either one, if not both of the children. And so, there's things that are going on with our people on a mass scale, but you're going to see that when they start to put it out in the news, it's greatly affecting them and becoming more alarming to them. So as you can see, they actually did a GoFundMe where upwards to 100,000, a brother was saying, was received. But going back to this crash, there's something I wanted to get here, and then I'll get one more scripture and we'll end it there.
That we don't know exactly what led up to this crash at this point, but the visibility and the conditions are very brutal for crews right now who are out here. We're experiencing some extremely heavy wind right now, and we did have much more rain when we got here about an hour and a half ago. Now the rain has subsided just a little bit, but we are still dealing with that really, really heavy wind. Now, if we can get back out here live, I want to show you exactly what we're seeing. This right here behind me is where that plane went down. And you can see those orange booms. Those are containment lines that we saw crews putting into the water just about an hour ago. We can't see the plane in the water right now, but we do know that they are within this orange containment boom. They put this in here to keep any oil and fluids from the plane from spreading into the coastline. Also because where this jet went down is just feet away from where the Navy's Dolphins and Sea Lions train. This is where they're held and this is their training area. So I'm not sure if you can see from where we're standing, but the the boats that are farther off in the distance, they've all turned their engines on, and we're told that is likely to try and keep any oil and any fluids from getting as close to those dolphins and sea lions that help train the Navy. They're turning those on so they can push the fluids away from those marine life. Now, we did just talk to someone who...
So as we said, not only that, the people mourning, but you also have the sea life. Of course, they have, as you can see, the animals are, anytime that things like this happen, there is not just because you had the planes that crashed recently, into each other and went into the water. They talked mainly about the people, but there's animals that was in that water, that are greatly affected by the crash and the things that are happening, which also throws off the ecosystem. So the things that are going on in that water, where, there are going to be many of animals that are also affected by this thing as well. So everything that happens, that's going on, the changes that are happening, they're going to have a reaction, whether they think that it's going to be positive. The Lord is turning, is putting his hand upon them to the point that anything that they do, you're going to see that there's going to be initially thinking that it's going to be great, but eventually it's going to come down. It's going to crash down upon them. I want to get this really quick. There's two more. It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 6, verse 14. It says, "Forwardness is in his heart. He's habitually disobedient." So the things that he thinks, he's against the Lord. He moves a certain way that's going to always be adverse to the Heavenly Father. He deviseth mischief continually. All right. So he soweth discord, division. Oh, there was a just recent weeks. There was within the last couple of weeks or so, there was I guess Nazi or group or whatever that was marching, and then you had so-called blacks and Hispanics coming together in a U-Haul truck, hopped out, and they got to fighting on a bridge, ran the guys off. So now you got this possible race fighting and infighting within the country as well, and that's going to only increase. And it's also publicized and pushed. It's because there's a tension in things that's built. See, again, Esau, the elites, when there's blood in the streets, that's a statement that's made. They make a lot of money. When there's any type of division, they come in, they swoop in, they create the division. I forget how it's said, cause, reaction, solution. But the main point is they cause the division. And when they cause it, they come in with a solution to fix it. But in the end, they the one that caused it. And they also, no matter what side wins or who's on top, they benefit the most. OK, and then so they sow up discord. OK, especially for, again, men and women and women's rights and things like that. It says, "Therefore shall his calamity come suddenly. Suddenly shall he be broken without remedy." So again, when all these things, the Lord is putting his hand upon them, the judgments that are coming, he's still building and thinking that he's going to fare well and all of these things, because he's had the same game plan and it has always worked for him. But this time, this is it. And this is his final run. And what he doesn't realize, or at least know eventually, they're going to be placed in captivity. They're going to have to pay for all the things in which they've done. And that's why they're moving so fast. But of course, we're waiting. The elect, Lord willing, I'm part of that number, are waiting on Yahweh Shai to bring this place down very quickly. This is the last scripture. This is the book of 2nd Esdras chapter 8, verse 50. It says, "For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter times shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride." So there's So even with all these things that are happening, the people will still, those that are not of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, 2/3 of our people and the other nations, they're still not going to be mindful of the scourges, the things that are happening, that these things are being done by Yahweh Bashem Yahushai to get themselves the elect. I mean, the 2/3 of our people, speaking of our people, Israel, are not going to be mindful that, hey, maybe I should get myself together, let alone the other nations, because they don't have the Lord. So they won't know. They're just going to continue on in their day thinking that things will get better. And that's the pride, because you have the men of the Lord out there telling you that it's only going to get worse until Yahweh Shai returns and put things back in its rightful order. So I know that was all over the place. It's spiritual thoughts. I hope that this lesson was edifying, uplifting, and exhorting to some sort of the elect body of true believers. Before I end, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rahahakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four corners of the globe. Until next time, all those listening and learning to you, I say, Shalom.